Hey, I'm Alex. Here's another decent video covering all three of my strategies as they work in harmony together on yesterday's trading session that we had, where we had about 3 or 4 trades all setting up one after the other. It was a fantastic day. So predominantly with my 764 strategy, that played out about 3 times, but on top of that we had divergence, and currently in play is the MT, so momentum strategy, looking for an actual change in sentiment. We'll dive into that now and show you exactly what I've been doing, the trade that I've got currently still running as well. So I thought we'd do a YouTube video. I thought it was high time we did another one, and this is well worth it. So you'll learn a lot from this video. I'll try and keep it short and sweet, and just show you how we're using fibs as a primary confluence. So this is the complete range. We've had a 382, we've had a lovely sell-off, took out the new low, and then we've been climbing gradually. So off the back of, well, since Wednesday evening, we parked up here about 1938, which was a 61.8. You see that price made a nice little beeline to the 382, bounced a little bit, and said, no, we're going to keep going. Went up to the 50, consolidated for several hours, and then dropped back. But then we shot up into the next day, and Wednesday we finished here. So if we play this forward a little bit, what I want to show you is this is where retail traders and impatient traders generally lose their money, because what they'll do is they'll try and short here, and if they get in quite late, it could be a case of, if they don't move their stop to break even, they could end up getting stopped out. Or if they're looking to maybe perhaps allow this to retest this area, and with the intention of it going short, again, it did think about it before turning, which you can see here. There was the wick down where it decided to have a reaction at this double top, but it wasn't enough, and it continued. So the 764 strategy serves to provide a really good high probability successful way of getting in when there's big ranges like this in play. So despite seeing this wonderful move down, if you were not involved in this movement, then clearly you'd have a problem. You get stopped out. But here, right now, this for me is where I was taking my first setup. This right here, allowing it to make such a steep impulsive drive down. So then you come along, put your fibs on this current range. You can also see that we had the momentum crossing over to the bearish side, so to the dark side, going down, crossing over, momentum switching, which is great. So we then think, okay, can this break the 38.2? Generally, you find something like this happening on a 1 hour time frame, where we have the momentum, so MT strategy kicking in on a 1 hour, and always looking at that 38.2 as that key area. That is generally always going to be my T1, because then it's a do or die moment. It has to make a decision. It gets to there, and it's either going to break and do this sort of volume where we have this steep bit of selling, or it's going to find some support and do this. So in any case, or in both cases, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to be patient. If I didn't make any money on this, or even if I did, I still manage my stop loss, take some profit, trail the stop loss until such time it decides to make a reaction. Here again is the second entry. This was the first 764 strategy of the day. So if we just drill down to maybe a smaller time frame, like a 15 minutes, so you can see this in a bit more high definition. This is 8:30 yesterday morning, London session. Fantastic. So what do? We do this. We apply what I call the 3-option rule, where we're allowing price to go up and test one of these fibs. The ultimate fib is going to be the 764, and that's where I'm going to be looking to get in. So shorting first opportunity, first trade of the day was around 34. With stops are always slightly just above wherever it tops out. In this case, it would have been just above 34, getting in around 34. Very small stop, in fact, because that's the whole point of this strategy. It provides pinpoint, precision, accurate entries, and so you can really manage your risk, and knowing the right time to get into a trade, it's perfect. So there's your first trade. Again, even if you are just day trading and looking for smaller moves, you can still bag about 50 or so pips, 40-50 pips as a T1 down to 38 on this move. So down to about 1928. So there's your T1. Then ultimately you're still looking for the T2, so you're still looking for 22, and that's going to be at least a T2. Then if it makes a higher low, so in this case you would want to see that sort of price action, some sort of reaction there where it then stops. Then you'd get in and you'd say, okay, this is the next 764 strategy. So you're going to do this, and you're going to pull that, and you're going to do the same sort of thing where you are applying the fibs. The predominant ones are going to be the 382 and the 764 as your T1, T2, because you want to pay yourself, because you're going to get thirsty, hungry, so you've got to feed yourself. So here's good. Then you can move your stop loss to break even. So the short position initially would have been something like that, with a T1 and a T2 in mind. So let me just get that up there, like that. Let's turn that off, and it would have been, it was there yesterday morning, London session, something like that, T1, and then ultimately a T2. Always round it up. So 22.7. You know, aim for maybe 23. It's more than enough. It did a perfect move down, so that was great. So there's your first decent trade. Well, second, to be fair. Second, what am I talking about? Yesterday morning we had one of my traders, one of my one-to-one traders, he was long. And so that was a nice move up. So you got a T1 and then ultimately T2. So that was the first one. This is the second one. Now we're playing the third one. So third one in the same day, within the same session, London session, third setup. Amazing. So a really good day. This same trader that was long there was also one of the traders that was long here as well. So he was really having a great day yesterday. Again, he got in at about 22, so he had really and he put his stop just to, because he felt like his stop loss wasn't enough, and he felt it was really tight, so he put it down here somewhere around 21, something like that. And I said to him, there's no need really, just that's the whole point of the strategy. So if you're getting in here on point, then no problem. And then you can even be really conservative. If you're seeing this on the 1 hour candles or 15-minute candles, something where it's trying to impulsively move up, move your stop to break even and allow it to make its move. So T1's going to be around 26. So if we just go back up to, we'll leave it here for the moment, but yeah, T1 26, and then T2's 30, 31, again being conservative, or even slightly below. Anyway, like that. So this would have been first, second, third 764 strategy of the day, and all on the same instrument, fun enough, all on gold. So I thought this was definitely worth a share, because it was just amazing price action. So now what we do here is we remove that, and I did say yesterday and the day before that ultimately the place I really want to short from, this was great. These were added bonus trades, really fantastic, 100 plus pip swings as well. But the ultimate goal would be to short at around 1948 as a 764 strategy, because it's based on this much bigger picture, much bigger range. So again, if we go to something like the 1 hour chart, let's remove all of this here. Let's get rid of that. Let's have a look at how price is reacting, and what we're ultimately looking for is, well, based on this last pullback, using fib extensions, we have divergence setting up nicely on a 1 hour as well. So divergence, you see the volume here is coming into play, but it's perhaps not as prominent and as strong as the last swing up. So there you have divergence. So we're looking at around 50. Also an Elliott wave move where we have higher lows being made, 764, and then it goes wave 3. So it was all coming into play. So much information. Once you know, you know. It might take a little bit of practice to cast your eyes and understand price action, but this is pure price action, and it just makes so much sense, and it's so precise. And when you have that information, you can monetize that information, and that is exactly what we do day in, day out. And so we were short here around 48, and because that was the 764. Also we had the divergence, so being conservative, I just thought 48, shorted back down to 38. That's previous structure, and that's going to give us at least 100 pips, and that's, you know, that in itself is fantastic. And then, you know, this is what actually did happen, and this is what's been going on so far. So good. And we are still in this trade. You know, we've taken most of our profit off at the 382, because of course what we do here is we want to update the range. So we go like this. Once it's topped out, we go like that, and that is yeah, that's the full complete picture. And that now is the ultimate setup, really, because we've broken structure, and with divergence it has pulled it down successfully, and so that was fantastic. You know, taking some profit down here is always a good sensible way to play this divergence strategy kicking in. And then of course now we have the 764 strategy, of the bigger picture, the ultimate prize, that's played out to perfection, and that there was the target. You know, that is the target, the ultimate target, down at around 27. So I mean, I was targeting 28 just to be conservative, because I said, look, if you're getting in at 48 down to 28, it's 200 pips. I'm sure we can make some good money. And with the risk to reward, that was at least depending on your entry and stop loss, at least a 6R in terms of risk to reward. And just no drama. There was never any drawdown. We've never been in any negative position at all. And what we did do is, so we got in around here. We just then proceeded to trail the stop loss. So the first move was down to about 40. So that was where we trailed the stop loss, and looking for this as the ultimate T1. Now you can see with the 1 hour chart, the momentum has kicked in again to the downside, as it tried to do here in this move, but this time it had a real go to the upside. And with the 764 strategy, you know, that's the T1. Now, we always look ultimately for T1. So 200 pips was the prize. Brilliant, fantastic, really happy. I've got one position running, and I'm just looking now to see if we're going to have a bigger move. Perhaps, maybe, you know, whatever happens today, being Friday, if the trend ends up being down, bearish into the close, then I would anticipate there being a more of a bearish follow through on Monday. If it ends bullish and takes us out, I have tightened up the stop as well, to be fair. Now we are looking at about 37 as the stop loss, because we did have a little mini 764 bit of price action here. So, you know, where it broke this move here, we had a little bit of a kickback. So I've put my stop up there, and, you know, can see that we've had a go. And if price comes up to test this area, that's all very well, but I'd like it to maybe stall and not break up and break out. And so I've just trailed the stop loss. One position, you know, we've had a fantastic move already, so I'm not too fussed. But if it does continue to go down, then we'd look at the weekly cycle or the trending move from the Friday to spill over into the Monday. So ideally it would need to break here, and ideally we will get some proper momentum, like volume like this, that just kicks in. And even with these moves, you know, these little retracements like it's doing here, if you go and maybe try and put some sort of a trend line as a marker, just to keep it there for reference, and also apply what we call the 3 option rule as well. Do something like that with the 38.2. Maybe add the 50 on there as well, just to round things up in the 618, and just see where everything is marrying up. Ideally, again, lower highs would be the ultimate goal. Stay within the trend line. Challenge it all, that's fine. Test that 382, that's fine. You know, I've allowed it to do that. I'm accounting for that. If we are going to see a really good, decent bearish continuation, will it happen today? If not, we'll explore it maybe into next week. You know, maybe tonight, by this evening, it will come up to 1943. We do have non-farm payroll very soon, so that's why I've tightened the stop loss as well. So, you know, we could get up to here, and then that might present another shorting opportunity. So if it goes like this, non-farm payroll pumps it up here somewhere and it stops, parks itself, then we might get that kind of a move as the next move. But you see that the journey is never smooth, but when it is, it's always important to take some profit. So we've taken a very good profit here. We're just trailing the stop loss. I've got it around here at the moment, around 1937. I've locked in comfortably over 100 pips. So, you know, and I've bagged some decent profit as well. And ultimately, if it stays below this resistance, taps it and drops, I'm just going to keep a runner on and see if we can actually get down to about 1905. And so that is the play. If I just move this out of the way and just show you that here on my chart as well, this is my 1 hour chart, just to confirm this price action that I am looking at. And you can see this big old range that we're in. You see that beautiful 764 pullback. You know, 1950 round number. It was just perfect. Everything about the setup was fantastic in terms of taking it down as a pullback. Great, and you can see momentum's trying to break now. It's bearish. So if this does break this support, then it can fly in a straight line, and we'll just crush this trade, and that should give us. I mean, currently I made about couple of percent in and out on this, but ultimately probably look at about 4 or 5% on this trade. And that's just being conservative, really. I have been conservative with this trade, but this trade was courtesy of my one-to-one traders. So I've got a community, and they share their trades now, and they're shouting out, and they're calling these setups. And so we have multiple pairs of eyes, all looking at the same things, looking at the same strategies that I've been teaching. And so it makes for a powerful community to be part of. By all means, get involved. It's always free to join, and yeah, always free to ask questions. Support is there. Need anything, just ask. Hope this video and explanation and price action and everything else finds you well. And it's Friday, 1st of April, April Fools, but no fools here. Making money, crushing it, and yeah, enjoy your weekend.